In this video, I will be solving problem 74, which is a problem in section 6.3 of our textbook. So let's take a look at it. It is a problem that has to do with resultant force. Resultant force is when you have multiple forces and you combine them. And for that combined force, we will be finding the direction, the angle of direction, and the magnitude. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So we have two forces here. We have two forces that are pulling on this hook or part of a machine, and each of the two forces is pulling with a different force. The top one, 2,000 newtons at an angle of 30 degrees, and the bottom force is 900 newtons with an angle of negative 45 degrees. Okay, so now these are the formulas that we will be using. Okay, the top formula is an equation or an expression for a force in vector form. And then we have the angle of direction theta. We have a formula for finding that, the magnitude. And once again, the resultant vector is the combined vectors. Okay, so let's go back to the problem. So the first thing to do then is to express the top. Okay, so we're going to let V1 here be equal to 2,000 cosine of 30 and sine of the same angle, 30. And that will be the vector form of the force on top. And let's let V2 be equal to the bottom force, so that will be 900 newtons cosine of negative 45 sine of negative 45. So we have the two forces in vector form. Now we're going to get the resultant vector. Or that is the combination of these two, by adding them. But before we add them, we're going to simplify them, or we're going to find a numerical approximation. So the first one, we're going to take the 2,000 and distribute it in. And if I get the calculator, I get 30 cosine times 2,000, 1732.05, and let's do the sine of 30. 0.5 times 2,000. Well, that's just 1,000. And now let's get the approximation for the bottom expression also. So for the bottom force. So let's distribute the 900 inside. Get the calculator. 45, that's a negative. And that'd be cosine of that times 900. We get 636 point, well, it's really very close to 0.4. Let's get the sine of 45 here, of negative 45, times 900. We get negative 636.4 basically. Okay, now I can add both of them and get the resultant vector. So the way we add them is we add the horizontal with the horizontal and the vertical with the vertical. So let's do that. So we have 1732.05 plus 636.4. Well, that is roughly 2368.45. Now let's do the vertical. 1000 plus a minus 636.4, which is roughly 363.6. Okay, so now we have an expression for the resultant vector. So now on that, we will answer the we will find the angle of direction and the magnitude. Okay, so the angle of direction I use tangent theta is equal to y over x we get the calculator. We get 363.6 divided by 2368.45. Hit equal to get a decimal, and then we do tangent inverse, and we get that theta, or the angle of direction, is approximately 8.7 degrees. Okay, well, that is one of the answers to one of the questions. The other question was to find the magnitude. So for magnitude, we use the square root formula. We write 2368.45, the square of that, plus 363.6, the square of that. We're gonna combine both squares and then take the square root of it, and so we get the calculator, and we get that it's approximately equal to 2,396.2 newtons.